is going to work against us a little bit, but I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of my entire family to welcome you all back to the 1992 season. We will start with our Wildcat division this afternoon, and in third place by vote of our judges with the number 27, Dennis Clow. A lot of work go into these cars, and it's evident to see, Dennis, congratulations, it's evident to see the amount of pride that goes in, even in an entry-level division like this Wildcat rank. Second place, the number 03, is really not a stranger here. He's raced in limited sportsman divisions before, and that's Ray Leach Jr. And this next gentleman also took first place at the main mall car show with his Wildcat car, and obviously it could run him amok with any of the rest of the divisions for competition today, and that's the number 17 of Billy Meserve, a beautiful car. Billy, congratulations. Once again, a nice round of applause for our top 3 Wildcat drivers in their cars this afternoon. Bruce, we'll go back to you and get set for our limited sportsman division.
Thank you, Andy. I think as we would all agree, it's difficult to be a judge here of this best looking car competition. I'm awfully glad I don't have to be one. A lot of fine limited sportsman contenders. Once again, the task for the judges to select a top 3 for today. And no easy task, as there are obviously a number of cars deserving of being among the top 3, but there are only 3 awards waiting on the judges to select a top 3 from a fine field of limited sportsmen. We'll remind you while we're waiting for that, once again, Channel One Video, official videographers here at the Beech Ridge Motor Speedway. They are having an opening day sale. If you order today's video today, you save 60%. Only $10, but you must order the tape today. Well, 2 competitors have been drawn to the side. First, one of our rookies, and this is certainly a year of rookies. In the number 34, Ryan Shepard has been pulled to the side, and the number 93 of Dave Langless. Third car being pulled to the side, the 37 of defending champion Larry Gelinas. And we await the positioning of these top 3 limited sportsmen from our panel of judges.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are your top 3 limited sportsmen best appearing cars for the 1992 season, and we'll start with a brand new rookie in the division. Please welcome out Ryan Shepard in the number 34 in third. Second place, a gentleman who was voted Outstanding New Driver in 1991. That's Dave Langless in the number 93. And that leaves only one, and he was number 1 last year. He's the defending champion of the Limited Sportsman Division, Larry Gelinas in the 37. Larry, congratulations. If you gentlemen would come forward and have your pictures taken, and a nice round of applause for our top 3 drivers. Bruce Elder, back to you.
Once again, a difficult task, but 3 outstanding cars prepared by outstanding crews. '93 of Danny Palmer's Cabana Auto Body, Bonanza Sanford entry being pulled to the side. The 0 of Gary Clough from Kennebunkport also being pulled to the apron area. Third car being pulled to the side, the 08 of Rod Moody from Keyser Falls. And once again, we'll await the positioning of our top three.
Here's a look at our top three for the Super Sportsman division. First, from the number 08, which you welcome back into the competition, Rod Moody, third place in the best looking car competition. The runner-up in this category this afternoon is a newcomer into the Super Sportsman division, just out of Limited Sportsman, Gary Clough in the number 0. And that leaves just number 1. It's the number 93 who placed well in the main mall show as well, Danny Powell out of Springville. A nice round of applause for all three of these gentlemen once again in three beautiful looking cars in this very popular new division. Bruce, back to you.
Thank you, Andy. I'd like to remind all the teenagers with us today that next week is labeled Kids and Teens Day here at the Speedway. That means if you're a teenager, age 19 or under, you will be admitted free to the race meet next Sunday afternoon. Obviously, if you're at the upper end of that teenage level, you should bring ID with you. Well, the judges very quickly have pulled 3 cars to the apron. We have the 35 of Paul Johnson, the number 4 of Bobby Babb, and the 44 driven by Pete Rondo.
Third place in our late model sportsman division category for best appearing cars is a gentleman who's already picked up a couple of awards this year, including a first place out of Windham, Maine with the number 4, Bobby Babb in third. Second place goes to a gentleman who today has a substitute driver for him during this parade lap, and that is the number 35 of Paul Johnson's car. First place leaves just 1 out of the 3 that remain on the track, and that is a gentleman who's already picked up a couple of first place awards this season, and we welcome him back into the racing competition here, the number 44, a new face for it, Pete Rondo. Ladies and gentlemen, again, a nice round of applause for our top 3 finishes. That leaves us with something to do, and that's to get into racing for the 1992 season. Bruce?
Thank you, Andy. Once again, credible job by all of the owners, drivers, and crews. Only wish we had more than 3 awards, because certainly there are other deserving individuals. But then comes the 53 in the next row. That's Don Meyer. Picking up with the second row, the car number 29 is driven by David Wiles. Number 3, David Raymond, is driven by Paul Holstrom. The 79 today is driven by Wayne Poland. The 99, Jim Culprit. Looking for a start at turn 4. Assistant starter Junior Niles holds them even. Green is out. From the outside, Jim Burt jumps into a quick lead over Chris Grondin. Grondin back from the pole to the second place position. Then comes a side-by-side battle for the third place position. David Wiles moving to the outside. 53 in a side-by-side battle. Now a 3-way battle down into turn 1. Don Meyer in the 53. They string out just a little bit, but 3-way again. Raymond down to the inside trying to take over that third place position. Bob Dope gets a little sideways out of turn 4, straightens it out, tangles with the 47 going into turn 1. John Maycomber up the inside in the 96. Here comes the 99 up the inside. 3-way battle continues through turns 3 and 4. Wiles now way up high, loses some ground. Jim Burt just has the field covered as he jumps out to a commanding lead. Almost a straightaway lead now for Jim Burt in the number 17. Bob Doak, a similar comfortable lead in the second place position. Then comes the 53 in third place. He's losing that now to the 99 of Jim Colbert Jr., who takes over third. On the move, the 86. That's Rob Herrick. Side-by-side battle for that fourth place position, but it goes to the 86 of Rob Herrick, dropping the 53 back a position. Assistant starter Julian Niles indicates they'll be approaching the halfway mark as they exit turn 4. Jim Burt continues with his comfortable lead. Then comes the 33 of Bob Doak, the 99 of Jim Colbert, the 86 Rob Herrick, and the 53 of Don Miner. Just 12 cars to qualify from each of 2 qualifying events. The last qualifier would be the 29 at this time. The rest of the cars will have to grab a qualifying spot via a consolation event. Donnie Whitten gets out of shape, does a nice job of holding the car through turns 3 and 4. Three-way battle through turns 3 and 4 as Wayne Poland is on the move in the number 79. Poland races between cars now up to the outside of the number 3 as he is knocking on the door now of the top 5. Wayne Poland all the way up to the 6th place position. Takes a look now to the outside of the 53 of Don Miner. Poland right out over the apron. Spin on the backstretch, the 59 into the infield. That's Frank Scott. He gets back underway. Poland now working to the outside of the 53 of Miner, comes on of the lap car. The 59 gets sideways and holds it. Does a nice job strengthening the car. Wayne Poland up into the 5th place position. White flag out for our leader, Jim Burt in the 17. Comfortable lead by those first 3 cars. Actually, first 4 cars. First qualifying heat of the year goes to Jim Burt in the number 17. Starting the year just the way he wanted to, as every driver wants to, with a win opening day and try to set the tone for a strong season. Unofficially the 58, the last qualifier. Have to wait on scoring for an official word on that. Rolling down to the start-finish line area, the winner of the first qualifying heat of the day for the Limited Sportsman Division. Nice round of applause, please, for Jim Burt. First qualifier for the Super Sportsman Division, a new class here at the Speedway in 91. Growing by leaps and bounds. Flagman Eddie Walsh asked the drivers to hold it even. Wait for the stripe in turn 4. Green is out. Russ Johnson with a slight advantage as they race across the stripe down into turn 1. Gary Clough comes back to challenge on the outside. Slight advantage into turn 3 to the outside to the 0 of Clough. Russ Johnson draws it even out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Holds on to the lead for lap number 1. Also have Greg Bernier in this lineup. I think I missed him in the lineup. That's the number 23 out of Westbrook, Maine. Side-by-side battle continues out of turn 4. Russ Johnson to the inside, Gary Clough to the outside. Phil Weeks at the rear bumper of the 2 leaders. Then comes Steve Wilson in the 4th place position, and Ed Strong in the 10-4 rounds out the top 5. Phil Phil Weeks trying to squeeze beneath the zero of Clough. Looks like he can do it out of turn 2 and on the backstretch, draws it even with Clough as they race turn 3. Side-by-side battle out of turn 4, the advantage to Weeks in the number 9 as he takes over the second place position. Single file now, Russ Johnson, the leader. Phil Weeks in second, approaching the halfway mark, says flagman Eddie Welch. 5 down, 5 to go. Rookie of the year should really be a battle in 92. There are so many rookies, actually in all the divisions. An unusually high number of rookies. I think we have as many as 13 or perhaps 14 in this super sportsman division. Flagman Eddie Welch indicates it will be just 2 to go. Russ Johnson hangs on to about a 3-car length lead over Phil Weeks. Weeks with a similar lead over Gary Clough. 2 to go as they cross the stripe. Russ Johnson, the 91 Rookie of the Year, getting a fine start to the 92 season. Exiting turn 4, they'll see the white flag, 1 lap to go. Cars maintain about the same interval, about a 3-car length interval by the top 3, actually now the top 4. Checkered flag flies. The first qualifier for the Super Sportsman goes to Russ Johnson, followed by Phil Weeks in the number 9, Gary Clough in the 0, the 10 of Ed Strong, and the 92. Once again, that's Mike Gallo. As he rolls down on the start-finish line area, driving the Johnson's Garage, number 19. Nice round of applause, please, for Russ Johnson. Technical problem having been solved. Flagman Eddie Welch gives the drivers the all clear, letting them know they should be ready for a start at turn 4. For any of the newcomers, you'll notice kind of a faint white stripe in the turn 4 area. And the drivers know that's where the flagman is likely to throw, most likely to throw the green flag and start the race, not before. So he's looking for a wheel-to-wheel, bumper-to-bumper start at turn 4. We have green. Gary Johnson with a slight advantage from the inside. Bob Libby races even now to the outside out of turn 2. Slight advantage on the backstretch to Gary Johnson. Bobby Libby draws it even at turn 4. Advantage still goes to that inside groove and Gary Johnson. Bobby Libby not going to give it up on the outside as he tries to draw it even at turn 3. Row 2 stacked up side by side. Gary Pulsper in the 41. Mike Mayetta Jr. slips a little bit. Slides it back now to a battle with Bobby Babb up the inside in the number 4. Put a blanket over the top 6. Bobby Libby takes it right down over the apron. Trying to mount a challenge once again on the outside. Can't quite do it. Gary Johnson appears to be strong this afternoon in the number 53. We're going to get a watch on him next time by. Had 2 practice sessions this week. Many of the cars were out Wednesday night for a practice session. Very cold conditions, then back out yesterday afternoon. This is the first warm track that these cars have been on. Gary Johnson turning a 15.71. Good time for a late model sportsman here early in the day. We have seen quicker time, however, 15.71. That's unofficial, obviously. Bobby Libby continues to work the outside. Not a lot of rubber down yet on the track after all the rain all spring. Many times a little hard to run that outside groove, but Bob Libby unwilling to give up the effort out there on the outside. 15.81 for Bobby Libby in the outside groove. Flagman Eddie Walsh says it will be 2 to go. Libby right out in the dash there by the backstretch wall. Halfway mark, I'm sorry. Halfway mark indicated by Flagman Eddie Walsh. Gary Johnson doing a nice job as he continues to hold the point. A lot of pressure from Bobby Libby to the outside now. Gary Pulsifer up to challenge from the inside. That was 2 to go. We're going to get our act together eventually here. Working in the white flag lap. Checkered flag will be in the air. Out of turn 4, Gary Johnson will grab his first qualifier of the year, then almost a dead heat. The 34 of Bobby Libby, the 41 of Gary Pulsifer. Then in the 4th place position, Bobby Babb in the number 4. Mike Mayetta Jr. rounds out the top 5. Coasting down to our start-finish line area. Nice round of applause, please, for Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson of Hollis, Maine. Flagman Eddie Walsh gives the drivers the all clear as they glance to the flag stand. Second qualifier, the higher point cars from the 91 season. Green is out. Rob Herrick in the 86 jumps into a quick lead. The 50 of Alan Burby gets a little out of shape. He gets it straightened out. Manages to hang on to the 2nd place position. Dave Langlis looking for racing room beneath the 67 of Larry Vos. Problems on the number 6 of Billy Thompson. Try to get a word from the pit area as to just what the problem is on the number 6. Late joining the lineup, and obviously a mechanical problem plaguing the number 6 of Billy Thompson. Side-by-side battle for the 4th place position. Al Bursett in the number 25 filling in that car today. Larry Vos working to his outside as they round out the top 5. Once again, 12 cars to qualify for the main event. Very competitive limited sportsman division here at the Speedway. Last qualifier at the moment, I believe, would be the number 70 of Jeff Morgan. Rob Herrick gradually working himself into a comfortable lead. About a 5 or 6 car length lead over the number 50 of Alan Burby. Then the cars are stacked right up bumper to bumper. Last qualifier now, I believe, would be the 61 of Gordon Nelson. Once again, top 12 to qualify for the main event. The rest must try to do it via a consolation event. Al Bursett gets the car sideways on the front stretch, does a nice job of straightening it out. Bursett, a former limited sportsman strong contender. Then he went to the late models for a time, then took some time off, now back again. Dave Langlis now mounting a challenge for that 2nd place position as he works to the outside of the number 50 of Burby down into the 3 turn. They're side by side coming to turn 4. Burby to the inside. Dave Langlis with the advantage on the outside at turn 2. Dave Langlis takes over the position now. Bursett works his way out and around the number 50 to take over that 3rd place position. Last qualifier, I believe, now would be the 24 of Danny Goubart. Black flag going out to the 09. Smoke from the 09 once again. That is Mike Burdine from South Hiram, a rookie in this division. leaders have managed to break away from the rest of the pack, but it is a battle from about the halfway point on back. Actually from the 5th position on back. Still in that last qualifying position appears to be the number 24 of Danny Bubar. One of the hot shoes in this limited sportsman division, hanging on the fringe of qualifying. Flagman Eddie Walsh indicates next time by it will be 2 to go. 15-lap qualifier for the limited sportsman. 2 laps to go. White flag is out. Top 2 from 91 apparently will not make a qualifying spot. That would be the 37 of Larry Gelinas and the 78 of Dave Fecto. They finished 1 and 2 in the 91 season. Checkered flag in the air first. Second qualifier for the limited sportsman goes to Rob Herrick in a commanding way. Dave Langlis, Al Bursett, Mike Field, and Alan Burby, the top 5. I believe the 37 of Larry Gelinas did make it up into the top qualifying group. Your winner down at trackside, the 86 of Rob Herrick. Sponsored by Jet Services along with the Dunstan Video. In the 89 is Spike Matitol to his outside, the number 1 of Dave Sprague. All clear from Flagman Eddie Walsh atop the flag stand as the drivers glance one more time from the backstretch. Super Sportsman, a class that is growing at a alarming rate actually. 13 or 14 rookies up this year at turn 4. Ask the drivers to hold it even. Green is out. Doug Shores with a slight advantage as they race to the front stretch to turn 1. Spike Matitol looking for racing room beneath the 69 of Tim Maloney. Spike Matitol up into the second place position. Challenge for the lead now. Matitol up the inside. Spike Matitol with an impressive move right up the inside. Now Doug Shores is going to try to challenge back from the outside. Dave Sprague on the move in the number 1. Tim Maloney trying to draw it even up the inside. Then comes Danny Palmer rounding out the top 5. Tim Maloney now trying to get beneath the number 1 of Sprague. Gets it up by the door at turn 3. Tries to draw it even, and he does at turn 4. Side-by-side battle across the stripe. Tim Maloney in the 69. Dave Sprague in the number 1. Go at it wheel to wheel. Maloney with a slight advantage, but here comes Sprague back on the inside. Danny Palmer momentarily boxed in, as is the 27 of Pelton. Close wheel-to-wheel action in the Super Sportsman division this afternoon. Side-by-side for position 3, side-by-side for positions 4 and 5. Flagman Eddie Walsh with the cross flags. It will be 5 down, 5 to go. Spike Matitol shows the way. Doug Shores is second. Then it's up for grabs with a side-by-side battle. Tim Maloney with a slight advantage now. Takes over that 3rd place position. Here comes Danny Palmer to challenge beside Sprague in the number 1. Palmer on the move up the inside, trying to take position 4 to himself. Sprague continues to challenge on the outside. Here comes Kevin Durgan. Durgan now looks beneath the number 1. Doug Shores takes a look to the outside of the 69, the 89. Flagman indicates just 2 to go next time by. And Doug Shores is trying to mount a challenge once again to race leader Spike Matitol. Shores sets in the outside groove. Tries to mount a challenge. It's the IROC Z of Spike Matitol, the Ford Thunderbird of Doug Shores. White flag in the air. Matitol trying to hold off Doug Shores. There's a slight gap back to position 3 held by Maloney. Then a battle for the next 3 positions up for grabs. Checkered flag in the air. Spike Manitoul, Doug Shores, Tim Maloney, Danny Palmer, and it looked like it's up for grabs between the 7 and the 14. The leaderboard shows the number 7 taking the 5th place position. Here's your second heat winner, ladies and gentlemen, in the team towing. Number 89, Spike Manitoul. 10 laps on tap. Final shakedown for the feature event. We've had some very fast times recorded in practice, and they're probably going to get faster today. At turn 4, green is out. Glenn Cusack jumps into a quick lead off the point. And right up the inside comes Kerry Winslow to grab the second place position. Then it's side by side on the backstretch. Bowser to the inside, Rondo to the outside. Paul Johnson looking for racing room on the inside. Position 4, they go at it side by side. Paul Johnson with a slight advantage as he works the inside over Rondo in the 44 to the outside. Here comes Bob Randall, Mike Mayetta, Barry Babb, and the rest looking for a way to the front. Rondo and Babb working the outside groove. Everybody else lined up along that inside lane. Let's see if they can make it work. Rondo back to his home track after a year away. A lot of experience, very smooth competitor. Talked with several of the competitors in the late model ranks who look for him to be a factor. Paul Johnson elected to take it out into the outside groove. Randall trying to advance to the inside of Johnson. Can't quite do it. They'll be approaching the halfway mark. It will be 5 down, 5 to go. Continues to be Cusack showing the way, followed by Kerry Winslow. Side-by-side battle for third. Here comes Paul Johnson with a challenge to the outside of Joe Bowser. Paul Johnson working hard to the outside. Takes a look now to that second place position as he sets to the outside of the 22 of Kerry Winslow. Draws it even at turn 4. Keep your eyes on the 35. Paul Johnson is on the move. Flagman Eddie Walsh says it will be just 2 to go next time by as Johnson got time to get up and challenge Cusack. We'll find out in a lap and a half, 2 to go. Paul Johnson, now Mike Mayetta and Mike Johnson on the move in the outside lane. Glenn Cusack still holds the point, trying to wire this second qualifier. White flag in the air. Glenn Cusack continues to hold the point, but Paul Johnson's going to make an attempt on the outside. Tries to draw to the outside. He does, out of turn 3 to turn 4. Johnson sideways out of turn 4. Does a nice job of holding the car. Glenn Cusack wires the second qualifier in the number 2, followed by Joe Bowser. Paul Johnson, the 22 of Kerry Winslow, Joe Bowser, and Mike Mayetta. Glenn Cusack coast down to the start-finish line area. Nice round of applause, please, for the winner of heat number 2 in the late model division. Definitely a car to watch in the upcoming 50-lap feature event later on this afternoon. Carl Hinkson, a rookie in the number 21. The 19 is driven by Jackie Roussel. The number 10, Charlie Roussel. The 16, Jim Shaw. The 18, Jerome Boucher. The number 1, Rick Tibbetts. And the number 7, former champion in the Wildcat division, Steve Berry Jr. Assistant starter Junior Niles indicates the track is clear. Look for a start at turn 4. Starter asked them to hold it even, pick it up just a little bit out of turn 4. Green is out. On the outside with a quick jump, Bob Collette. jumps into a quick lead. Then comes the 57 of Rod Hughes. He's being challenged by the 62. Spin in the four-turn. Steve Berry gets the car turned about, keeps it underway, and we stay green. Meanwhile, comfortable lead for the moment anyway, to the 87 of Bob Collette. But on the move, a former champion, Ken McLeod. Ken McLeod filling in the Joe Green number 30. Now comes to the outside of the 87 of Bob Collette. Ken McLeod, champion of the inaugural year of the Super Sportsman, takes over the lead as they cross the stripe, working lap number 3. Just 3 laps for McLeod to put the number 30 to the point. Always a hard charger, filling in for the injured Joe Green. Young man who felt he would probably not be behind the wheel of a car, at least to start the season off, finds himself leading the first semi-feature of the year. Ken McLeod just continues to stretch out his lead over the 87 of Bob Collette. Then comes the 57 of Rod Hughes, followed by the number 9 of Mike Grant. Then comes the 62 of Jeff Charland. And on the move, 0 of Wayne Whitten, mounting a challenge to the outside of Jeff Charland in the 62. Coming up on the halfway mark. Ken McLeod now coming up to lap the cars at the back of the pack, as he holds better than a straightaway now lead over the second place car. Passing flag being given to those cars in order to give the leader an opportunity to work that outside groove. Tangle in the 3-turn between the 73 and the 34. They managed to keep the cars straight. 34 Ryan Shepard. The 73 is Larry Ramsey Jr. Runaway by Ken McLeod in the number 30, as he holds now a near half-lap lead over the second place car. That's the 87 of Bob Collette. Then the 57 of Rod Hughes, the 9 of Mike Grant. The 0 loses a wheel at turn 1, right rear off the 0, driven by Wayne Whitten. He is a rookie. Manages to get the car into the pit area. Just 2 laps to go, indicates Junior Niles. As everything managed to get clear. Unusual event when a car loses a wheel. Usually we have to go under caution, but not in this case. White flag flying. And Ken McLeod negotiates the 4-turn. He'll see the checkered flag in the air. Kind of a familiar sight for Ken McLeod. Second place, the 87, Bob Collette, then the 57, the 9, and the semi-feature for opening day 92 will be committed to the record books. fine showing for the Joe Green Limited Sportsman. Being piloted today by Kent McLeod. Flagman Eddie Welch says all clear. Evidently mechanical problems on the number 6. Looking for a start at turn 4. We have green. The 08 from the pole. That's Alton Meserve. Tim Genren in the second spot. Dave Fecto on the move on the outside as he works to the outside of the number 12 of Genren, trying to challenge for that second place position. Billy Thompson, with mechanical problems, does manage to join the lineup. Tough way for an opening day start for a strong contender in that number 6. Tim Genren now dives beneath the 78 of Dave Fecto, takes over the second place position again. Brett Scott. Dave unaware that he was coming back strong to the inside. They go at it wheel to wheel for that second place position. Top 3 with a comfortable lead now. Grondin in the 47. Rocky Yago up the inside. Drivers all scrambling for a top 8 position. Battle continues for the second place spot. Tim Genren and Dave Fecto. Then comes Rocky Yago, the 59 of Frank Scott. Then the 09, that is Mike Burdine, rookie in the division. The 05 gets a little sideways in the 3-turn. Mechanical problems continue to plague the number 6 of Billy Thompson as he will take it back on a pit road. And a tough start to the season for Billy Thompson. Well, the 08 continues to be your leader. That's Alton Meserve. The side-by-side battle continues for second with Tim Genren in the 12, Dave Fecto in the 78. Fecto now with a strong bid to the outside, trying to get that second spot to himself. But Genren is unwilling to relinquish it if he can help it. Fecto continues to press hard to the outside, trying to shake the number 12. Now he does, and mounts a challenge to the outside of race leader Meserve. Coming up on the halfway mark. The 8 down, 7 to go. Dave Fecto now stretches it out just a bit. Puts a fender ahead, but here comes Meserve back to challenge on the inside. Dave Fecto once again trying to take a bid for that first spot. Seems to be able to do it. But Meserve will fight back once again. Finally, down into the 1-turn, Dave Fecto gets that first spot to himself. Had to work for it, but he now has command at the point. Top 3 have run away from the rest of the pack. Back and forth, Rocky Yago. Frank Scott is in 5th. Then comes Larry Vos. The 09 of Mike Burdine. And the 47 of Chris Grondin. Dave Fecto was the runner-up in this division in the 91 season. In fact, was the point leader for quite a stretch. Only to see his lead gradually eaten away by the strong contender in the number 37, Larry Gelinas, the eventual point champion for the 91 season. Flagman Eddie Welch says just 2 to go. After all that side-by-side battling, once at the front, Dave Fecto with a comfortable lead. He sees the 2 flags. 2 to go. Comfortable lead now over Alton Meserve in the 08 and Tim Genren in the 12. White flag is out, 1 to go. Dave Fecto seeing what he hopes will be one of many checkered flags in the 92 season. Captures the consolation event, followed by Alton Reserve, Tim Gendron, then comes Larry Votes, Rocky Yargo, and Frank Scott rounding out the top 5. Well, they tell us the 50-50 is now up to the vicinity of $600.
Second-year competitor in this brand new division. Out of Scarborough, Maine, Chris Rule in the number 14. Good afternoon, Chris. Welcome back.
Thank you. At least we got some good weather.
Good weather and a strong headwind, or it looks like it may be turning into a crosswind. Now, does that bother cars at all when you're racing out there?
It doesn't seem to bother me. It just makes me go faster.
Usually down the backstretch when you get the tailwind, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about the car this year. Let's get a fresh look at it. Are we looking at a brand new car this year? Have you reworked the old one?
No, it's the same car we ran last year. We just changed a few front suspension things around, put a new body on it, new paint job, new lettering scheme, and that's about it.
It's done pretty well for you at some of the shows. You are traditionally one of our competitors that is ready back for our first show that we do, which is the first weekend in January at the all-season show in Augusta. And I have to ask how much work you put into it right after the season is over, because you're ready so early and a lot of other guys were towing in today and the paint is still wet on the cars.
Well, we usually, last day after the races, we usually go back to the garage, take the body off, and we start right, day after we're all done.
And once you finish, for example, will go to Augusta with us in January. You're all set. The car looks ready anyway. Is it really ready, or do you find yourself maybe procrastinating some things? Does it always take to the last minute to get every last detail together?
Well, it might look ready, but it really isn't. We usually have to wait to have the motor rebuilt, rear ends, transmission, stuff like that. The months after the Augusta show, we're usually working right out straight every night, usually right until we get here opening day.
I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of time that goes into these cars. That's just amazing to see the amount of effort that goes in there. Here we are in the second year of the Super Sportsman division. You're racing both years in this division, brand new division. You've raced in the limited sportsman division. You graduated out of there relatively soon, only 2 or 3 years of experience under your belt. How did you feel about the change last year? And give us an overall look at this new division to begin with.
Well, for me, it was kind of a big change last year from the limited sportsman. It's a totally different race car. It's a lot easier to adjust. I like the division a lot better. It's a lot more clean racing. It's just a lot easier, I think. It's more fun.
And you talk about the clean racing that you had last year, because you had pretty much a good core group of guys that made the commitment to move into a new division, give it a try. They really knew nothing about it, including yourself. Everybody faced the same thing together. This year, it's a different story. You've had a year under your belt. Kevin Durgan, for example, who finished third in the point standings last year, never really seemed to get the bugs worked out of his car until just about the last race when he finally pulled off a win. Now, you all have some experience under your belt. How do you see the year coming up? Are you looking for more competition from some that maybe you didn't have last year?
Yeah, I think the division will be a lot more competition this year. Everybody seems to have the cars going a little bit better. I've got mine going a little bit better than last year. Still got a few bugs to work out, but overall, I think the competition is going to tighten up quite a bit. There's going to be 10 or 12 cars that are fast every week rather than just 4 or 5.
That's a good insight on the division. One of the faster cars last year was Ken McLeod out of Saco. We just saw him pick up a win in the semi-feature division as he fills in for Joe Green for a few weeks in that number 30. But he says he won't be racing in the Super Sportsman division this year. So what does that do to your competition? And does it take anything away from you? Do you feel like you would have rather have had a shot at Kenny McLeod, or does it loosen things up, and is it going to make it any easier for you?
Well, obviously it's going to make it a little bit easier for everybody. He was most of the time the car to beat. I'd rather race with Kenny McLeod all season than a lot of the other guys, because me and him are pretty good friends. We get along good. We race hard together and we race good together. I think the competition is going to be good enough this year that we're not going to have to worry about it. I think he was a good driver, a good friend of mine, and I wish he'd come back.
It's going to be an interesting year in this division. Tell us a little bit about last year as far as your final finishing position. I know the story. Some of these folks here with us today know the story, but probably a lot with us don't know the story. You ended up finishing second to Kenny McLeod in the overall driver championship status, fourth overall. You also ended up finishing first in the car drivers category. And fill us in a little bit about that and how that all took place, because some of these folks don't know about that.
Well, we have a point system. We run car points and driver points. Last year, I think I had a 32-point lead up till the point that I crashed. I had to go to the hospital, get a few things checked out. I had a guy drive the car for me, Scott Mulkern. He did a good job, won 2 out of 3 races with it. It kind of set me back because I missed about a total of 4 races, and there's a lot of points there that I could have had, you know, for my driving points anyways. But we kept the car on top of the points, and that's what paid us the check at the banquet, so I guess that's what counted.
The injuries you had, tell us about the extent of those.
A couple cracked ribs. My sternum was bruised pretty bad. They were worried about some discs in my back being cracked or whatever. I just was overall, I had a lot of internal injuries, and I was in pain for quite a while. It wasn't fun. I don't want to do it again.
I would have to guess the biggest pain might have been standing on the sidelines watching Scott Mulkern drive your car for you. What's it like for a driver to stand on the sidelines and have to sit out some races?
Well, it's quite nerve-wracking, really. You know, something you work on all winter and all summer to get going real good, and you're running real good, running, you know, top of the points and everything, and then to have something like that happen, it was a real letdown for me, because I knew when I got back in the car that I was going to have to chase some guys down, and I just knew that it was pretty much wasn't going to be possible. But we held on to 4th place, and that's not too bad, I guess.
And about the year, where are you headed?
Well, we're going to try to do our best to win the championship and do everything we can. I might have a Busch Grand National ride possibly for a couple races this year, and I'm hoping that it might turn into something for next year.
Well, it sounds like you've got things pretty well in good shape. We appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us this afternoon, Chris, and we wish you all well this afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, wish you well in today's feature race, and on the air, Chris Rowe from Scarborough, Maine. Bruce Elder, we'll go back to you.
Driving an 86 Chevy Celebrity, sponsored by Johnson's Garage, the 1991 Rookie of the Year in the Super Sportsman division. From Hollis, welcome Russ Johnson. To his outside of the front row, driving a Ford Thunderbird, sponsored by Ed's Batteries in Westport, Maine. One of the few strong Ford contenders in the area. From Falmouth, welcome Doug Shores. Inside of row 2, driving the number 69 from Cumberland, the Body Shop sponsored Super Sportsman of Tim Maloney. To his outside, driving an IROC Z, sponsored by Deerfield Log Homes and the Classic Auto Body, the number 89 of Spike Manitow. Inside of row 3, driving a Pontiac from Scarborough, Maine, sponsored in part by Garrett Gearboxes, Knoll High Industries, and Channel One Video. Welcome David Sprague. To his outside in row 3, driving a Pontiac 6000, sponsored in part by L.C. Sawyer and Sons Excavating and Rowe and Sons Limited, out of Buxton, Maine, the 72 of Mark Field. Inside of row 4 from Springville, Maine, driving a Pontiac Grand Prix, sponsored by Cabanas Auto Body and Bonanza of Sanford, the number 93 of Danny Palmer. To his outside, driving a Chevy Beretta from Keza Falls, Maine, sponsored by Action Racing Engineering and Moody Racing Team. Welcome Rod Moody Sr. Gentlemen, start your engines. Walsh gives the drivers the all clear as they work the backstretch, make one final glance to the flag stand. Pace car will make its way onto the infield pit road, and we are ready for feature event number 1 for 92. Johnson ensures green is out. Side by side to turn 1. Russ Johnson, Doug Shores. Doug Shores now with a slight advantage as they work down to turn 3. Johnson comes right back, side by side, wheel to wheel, they just touch. Johnson brings it down to lead lap number 1. 30 laps on tap for the Super Sportsman this afternoon. Russ Johnson, the 91 Rookie of the Year, shows the way, followed by the Ford competitor, Doug Shores. Then comes Tim Maloney. Spike Manitow, remember his strong qualifying heat run, works the outside now, trying to draw it even with that third place car, the 69 of Tim Maloney. David Sprague momentarily boxed in at the back bumper of the 69, has the 89 to his outside. Then comes the 93 of Danny Palmer. On the move, up in the pack, the 14 of Chris Rule. Also on the move in the outside groove, keep your eyes on the number 7. Along with the 27 now as they elect to move to the outside. Mark Field got a little bit sideways, did a nice job of holding the cars, but had to back off just a little bit, giving the 14 and the 27 the advantage on the outside. Your leader continues to be the 19. Todd Mead takes the number 2 on a pit road. Tough way to start opening day for the rookie. Top 2 cars now put some distance on Tim Maloney in the 69. Russ Johnson holds about a 2-car length lead over Doug Shores in the number 7. Then a gap back to the 3rd place competitor Tim Maloney, then David Sprague right at his bumper. Cars stacked right up from position 3 right on back. Chris Rule worked his way up now to about the 7th place position. On the move also the number 7, Kevin Durgan, as he works to the outside of Richard Pelton in the 27. Kevin Durgan finished the 91 season very, very strong after having a lot of difficulty during the season, but ended on a high note, winning the Clash at the end of the year and demonstrating that he'd finally gotten the Super Sportsman sorted out just the way he wanted it. Keep your eyes on Chris Rule in the 14. He's on the move now to the outside of the 93 of Danny Palmer. Chris Rule now looks to the outside of the Sprague car. Gets way wide there down the backstretch. Gathers it back in. Tightens it up now to mount a challenge to the 4th place competitor. Leaders work their way around Jeff Salibi in the number 40, rookie in this division, all new driver to stock car racing. Chris Rule now working to the outside of Tim Maloney in the 69. Chris Rule works his way now up to the 3rd place position as he gets around the 69 of Tim Maloney. Will now set his sights on Doug Shores, who is trying to close it up on race leader Russ Johnson. Like Andy Walsh indicates, it will be the halfway mark next time by. Working lap number 15. 15 down, 15 to go. Russ Johnson continues to show the way. Doug Shores, then comes Chris Rule, Tim Maloney, Kevin Durgan now up to the 5th place position. He's followed by Danny Palmer and Phil Weeks on the move. Russ Johnson. Super way to start the 92 season after a very smooth year, steadily improving year in 1991. Grabbed Rookie of the Year honors, and now is out here showing the way as he continues to put distance on the 07, who has fell upon some mechanical problems, is headed on a pit road. A tough break for Doug Shores. Mechanical failure taking the Ford to pit road. That turns the second spot over to Chris Rule. Rule trying to work his way around the 99 of Steve Wilson. Laps down, 10 to go. Chris Rule now having some problems in the 14 as he slowed on the backstretch, possibly a tire going down. Hard to tell, but it appeared that the car was out of shape. We'll see if the number 7 is able to gain quickly on the 14. We have a caution flag out. We'll get a report from safety crew. Spin in turn 4 as the 0 of Gary Clough gets turned around backwards, and that sends a couple of cars down over the banking. The 27 of Richard Bubba Pelton sits down next to the wall off over the top of turn 4. Some damage now to the right front of the number 1. A spin by the 03. Right now we're ready to go back to green. 21 laps down. Flagman Eddie Walsh atop the stand gives the drivers the all clear. Pace car makes its way on an infield pit road. Russ Johnson has Chris Rule to his outside. Green is out. Chris Rule from the outside with the advantage as they race to turn 1. Rule makes the pass on the outside, takes over the point in lap number 21. Russ Johnson fighting back now, trying to hang on the second place position. Kevin Durgan working hard now, looks to the outside. Spin by Phil Weeks. Phil Weeks gets the car turned about, does a nice job of bringing it right back, and we stay green, but a tough break for the rookie in the number 9. Point continues to be held by the 14 of Chris Rule. Then comes Russ Johnson, followed by Kevin Durgan, Tim Maloney, and Gary Clough. Cars work their way around Todd Mead. It will be coming down to 5 to go. Next time by, 5 laps to go. Chris Rule shows the way in the 14, followed by Russ Johnson, Kevin Durgan, then Tim Maloney, and Gary Clough. Problems on the 99 of Steve Wilson as he gets the car turned about. Does a nice job of getting back out of the way, but the yellow flag comes out. That will put the cars under caution for a quick realignment. And that will draw it even once again for race leader Chris Rule and Russ Johnson. Well, Eddie Walsh says we're ready to finish this thing off. 26 laps down, Chris Rule, Russ Johnson. Side by side, green is out. Chris Rule with a slight advantage across the stripe into turn 1. Here comes Kevin Durgan up the inside. Russ Johnson now has Kevin Durgan beneath him, and there goes second place. Tangle between the 0 and the 19. Russ Johnson does a nice job of holding the 19, hangs on to that third place position. Flagman says just 2 to go next time by. Quick acceleration on the 14 of Chris Rule. Allowed him to jump right back into the lead. 2 to go now. He has Kevin Durgan in his rearview mirror. Russ Johnson still doing a nice job in the top 3. Gary Clough in his rookie outing in the 0. And then Steve Howard round out the top 5. Out of turn 4, they'll see the white flag. 1 to go. Steve Howard trying to get up and challenge Gary Clough for that fourth place position. The race is for fourth. Steve Howard trying desperately to draw even with the zero. Checkered flag in the air. Chris Rule, Kevin Durgan, Russ Johnson, Gary Clough, and it looked like the 03 of Steve Howard, your top five. First semi-sportsman feature event of 92 now in the record book. And a fine outing for Chris Rule as he captures race number 1 on the 92 season. Chris Rule down to collect the colors from flagman Eddie Walsh. He'll do his parade lap and then be back, and we'll have an opportunity to see him once again. You've got a chance to see Chris Rule at Track Chat today. Maybe that was a good omen for Chris Rule. Now these guys are going to be standing in line, you can bet, to be on Track Chat, because they're going to think, you know, drivers are very superstitious. And I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to say, yeah, Chris Rule was out there for Track Chat, and look at that. Wins the feature. So, Andy, it's not going to be too hard to get people for Track Chat, I don't think. Great start for Chris Rule. Bringing it down to the start-finish line area, returns the colors to flagman Eddie Walsh. As he exits the 14, we go trackside now to Andy Cusack. Andy?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Victory Lane. First feature win of the year, Chris Rule. Long time no see, Chris.
Yeah, been a few minutes anyway.
Well, for a while, it almost didn't look like you were going to finish in the number 1 spot. Russ Johnson had quite a lead built up. The race was going without a caution flag, and that seemed to help you out. Do you think you could have caught him without the aid of a caution?
Yeah, I was gaining on it pretty good. I got in some oil over there, and I think that's why they threw the caution. Car was going pretty decent, a little push on the outside, but overall, I guess this is what counts.
What about toward the end of it? A second caution brings Kevin Durgan right up behind you. Does that make you nervous at all?
Not really. If I held my groove down, I knew he couldn't go around. I was fast enough, he couldn't go around me anyway.
Well, you said that you were going to finish 1, 2, or 3 today, and you got the best one out of all 3 choices. Diane Thompson with the first place trophy for you today. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, a nice round of applause for Chris Rule.
Is the 67 of Larry Vos to his out the 40 outside the 42 Kurt Bean. Then comes Dave Langless, and the 25 today Al Bursett, the 06 Dennis Quinn, the 12 Tim Gendron, the 94 Dennis Hall. We're ready for a start at turn 4. Green is out. Jim Burt jumps into a quick lead. Catch those last few cars in the lineup for you. The 88 is Mike Field, the 61 Gordon Nelson, 70 Jeff Morgan, Mike Burdine in the 09, Danny Bubar in the 24, Dave Fecto in the 78, and Larry Gelinas in the 37. Side-by-side battle for the second place position. Grondin in the 47 comes together with 53 and 29. They all managed to sort that out. Bob Doak on the move now as he challenges spin by Donnie Whitten in the 83. He seems to be clear and moving. We stay green. Jim Burt with a tremendous lead. Then a dogfight from second position on back. Wiles in the 29 getting all kinds of pressure from Bob Doak to the outside. Grondin gets spun down into turn 1 as he tangles. Gets tagged by another car. The rest of the drivers do a nice job of working around the 47 of Chris Grondin. A couple of cars elect to take it right to the pit area. The 25 driven by Bursett. Jim Burt, your pole sitter, has been impressive to say the least this afternoon. Won his qualifying heat in a commanding way. Jumped out to an impressive lead in the feature event, but now he has to draw it even once again. And of course, this is kind of a handicap system. The high point cars and drivers start toward the rear. So naturally the challenge is to see if those high point men, like defending champion Larry Gelinas in the 37, for example, can make his way up through this pack. All clear. Pace car makes its way onto the infield pit road. Drivers anxious out of turn 4. Green is up. Jim Burt once again jumps into a quick lead, followed by Bob Doak this time. David Wiles is third. Then comes the 53 of Don Miner. The 99 of Jim Culprit rounds out the top 5. Bob Doak making a bid now as the 17 went a little wide. Doak looked to the inside. Now Bob Doak takes a look to the outside. New challenger to race leader Jim Burt. Problems on the David Raymond car. The number 3 headed onto pit road. Jim Burt now beginning to stretch it out once again. Bob Doak trying to close it up, and he does as they race to turn 3. Larry Gelinas on the move back in the pack. Keep your eyes on the number 37. He is the defending champion of this division. A hard charger. Looks 3 wide now into turn 1. Larry Gelinas definitely on the move on the backstretch. Keep your eyes on the number 37. Also on the move, the number 70. Along with the 24. These are some of the hot shoes in this limited sportsman division. Whether they will have time enough to catch the 17 of Jim Burt. 99. Jim Culprit Jr. trying to work his way out and around the 29. Problems on the 66 as he takes it on the pit road. Heavy smoke from the 66, not the way he wanted to start the day. 59 also going on the pit road. That's Frank Scott. Meanwhile, Jim Burt continues to gradually stretch out his lead over Bob Doak in the 33. Then comes Jim Culprit in the 99, followed by David Wiles. Then Jeff Morgan has worked his way up to the 5th place position. And here comes Larry Gelinas from deep in the pack. He's worked his way up now to the 6th place position. The 50 gets out of shape. Sideways in the 4-turn, has to back right out of it. Problems on the number 50 of Alan Burby. Did a nice job of keeping the car from getting turned completely about, but the race is between the 37, the 24, as they work beneath the 29 of Wiles. Up to 4th place position now, Larry Gelinas in the 37. Bringing in tow, he has Danny Bubar at his back bumper. Bubar in the 24 along with the 70 of Jeff Morgan turned some very impressive times in practice. No surprise that they've worked their way up, and of course Larry Gelinas always a real tough competitor. Halfway mark. 15 down, 15 to go. Continues to be a runaway by the top 2, the front 2 cars. Jim Burt in the 17, Bob Doak in the 33. Then comes the 99 of Jim Culprit Jr., Larry Gelinas in the 37, and Danny Bubar in the number 24, the top 5. David Raymond out of the pit area and almost down in front of the 99 of Jim Culprit. Cars tangle going into the 1-turn. Wheel off from one of the cars. That sends the 09 down against the sandbank. Wheel coming back out across the track. Drivers are going to have to get right into the brakes. 58 involved in that. Which car is that? We'll give you a report just as soon as we have it. Safety man over to check the driver. Safety man indicates that the driver, John Maycomber, says that he's okay. Climbing out of the number 96, took a hard hit there, but he indicates that he is okay as he talked with the safety man. And that is, of course, always the number one concern. So if you're a go-kart racer and you want to see how it was done here back in the 60s and 70s on the dirt, there you go. Ready to restart at turn 4. Green is out. Jim Burt, Bob Doak, 3 wide for the next position. Whoa! Larry Jelinas hangs it out 3 wide. Down the backstretch, loses a little ground, but he's right back to the outside of Jim Culprit Jr., but loses some ground. You only have so many grooves out there. And Larry Jelinas and Jim Culprit Jr., I think we're trying to create another. Larry Jelinas right back now, racing between cars. But up front, it continues to be Jim Burt. Now he has the 24 to contend with. One of the fastest limited sportsmen, that's Danny Bubar. Right at his bumper in third, Jeff Morgan. Spin by the 53. He gets it underway and up top just in time. Jim Burt doing a nice job of holding off hard-charging Danny Bubar in the number 24 and Jeff Morgan in the number 70. Keep your eyes on that front 3 because they are a group of hard-charging drivers. Jim Burt goes way wide. That opens up the inside groove for Danny Bubar. The 24 takes advantage of that. Spin in the 2-turn. The 61 of Gordon Nelson. Right at the exit of the infield pit road. Have to see if he's able to get that underway. Sits just off the track at the infield pit road exit. Meanwhile, back up front, well, we do go under caution as Gordon Nelson is unable to refire the 61. Pace car makes its way onto the infield pit road. Danny Bubar, Jeff Morgan bring him down. Green is out. Danny Bubar with the advantage as they cross the stripe and race to turn 1. Jim Burt trying to mount a challenge for that second place position as he works to the inside of Jeff Morgan. Jim Burt draws it even, takes the advantage out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Will work himself back into the runner-up spot. Now a side-by-side battle for third has Dave Fecto inside the 70 of Morgan. Then comes Mike Field in the 88 and Bob Doak. Dennis Quinn did a nice job of straightening the 06 out as it got sideways in turn 4. Larry Jelinas now momentarily boxed in as he works to the back of the 06. Now finds room beneath the 06 of Dennis Quinn. Dennis Hall in the 94 trying to follow the 37 right up through. He gets beneath the 06 as well. Meanwhile, up front, Danny Bubar stretches out his lead over Jim Burt. And Jim Burt has a mirror full of Dave Fecto. Fecto was right at the rear bumper, and evidently Jim Burt just jumps right back in the throttle and regained a bit of a lead. Push evidently the problem in the number 17. As you'll notice, he'll drift wide in the turns. Very hard to lead with a car that has a push in it. As you will see with the number 17, he can't hold the car down. The car drifts high. Just 2 to go, indicates flagman Eddie Walsh. Jim Burt has to give up the inside row. First to the 78 of Dave Fecto, now to the 88 of Mike Field. Bob Doak now sticks the nose beneath the 17. At turn 4, your race leader, the 24 of Danny Palmer, goes under the white flag. We have a spin in turn 2. That brings out the caution flag. I believe that's the 58 of Paul Holstrom. You have a chance to meet drivers and see the cars up close, but this year there's something new that's been added. Race teams are going to be having available team t-shirts and some other items, so you'll have an opportunity if you'd like to have some of those materials to purchase them from the teams. Well, green is out coming out of turn 4. Dave Fecto gets the jump this time, but Danny Bubar right back hard on the hammer in turn 1. Retakes the lead by about a fender. They go side by side into turn 3 to turn 4 with the advantage to the 24. White flag out now, 1 to go. Danny Bubar trying to shake the 78 of Dave Fecto. Fecto with a bid again to the outside. Here comes Jim Burt back up to the rear bumper of the 78. Checkered flag in the air. The feature goes to Danny Bubar, followed by the 78, the 17, 33, and 37. That's unofficial. We'll give you a wheel off a car into turn 1. The 61, Gordon Nelson, and the axle still attached. So fortunate that that was at the conclusion of the race, not in the middle of the pack with the race continuing. Danny Bubar collects the colors from flagman Eddie Walsh, capturing the first main event for the Limited Sportsman in 1992. Talked to Danny yesterday at the practice session, and he said the car is just going fantastic and hopes for better luck than last year. And he certainly has gotten his wish here today as he captures the main event, followed by the always tough competitor out of Steep Falls, Dave Fecto, and Jim Burt, who has been impressive here today with a 17. As he exits the 24, we go trackside now to Andy Cusack.
Thank you, Bruce. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a warm welcome into victory lane, Danny Bubar. Danny, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
The nerves had to be up in your throat during the last restart.
Yeah, I didn't know how strong Dave was, and we was loosening up a little bit. Just thank God it all worked out.
You had a pretty good job getting out through the field and then gain the lead. What happens to a driver when you know you're that close to the win, just a couple of laps to go, you've seen the signal, and then the yellow comes out?
Well, the only thing that could go through my mind is frustration, you know. It's like I was hoping it would hold off, but I didn't know how much power I'd have left for Dave. Turned out it worked out just right.
Is this a new car for you this year?
This is a new one to me, but it was my backup car last year.
Well, it seems to be running just perfectly fine. Are you planning to run this all year long?
Yeah, this will be my car for the year. Hopefully we can give the Camaros a run for their money.
Well, Diane Thompson has the first place trophy for you to put on the shelf for this year.
Thanks a lot. We ended last year with a win, and we started this year with a win, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, Danny, I don't want you to leave just yet because I have a favor to ask of you. But right now, let's give a nice round of applause to Danny Bubar.
35-lap feature event, but this being opening day, it is traditional to go 50 laps in the late model sportsman division. Pace car from Pape Chevrolet makes its way onto the infield pit road. Bobby Libby to the outside. Gary Johnson bring him down. Green is out. Bobby Libby from the outside with the advantage as they race to turn 1. Johnson back hard on the hammer, draws it even out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Libby with a slight advantage again down through 3 to 4. They come out of 4 side by side. Slight advantage at the stripe that time to Bobby Libby. Libby sideways, loses it in turn 2. Tough break for Bobby Libby as he goes from first to last. Working lap number 3, maybe Bobby Libby still can recap and get back up in the thick of things. Long race. Gary Johnson continues to show the way, has Gary Pulsifer in second place. Then Bobby Babb fills the third place position. Pete Rondo is fourth and Barry Babb fifth. Andy Lude now looks to the outside of Barry Babb. Lude in the number 56, trying to make time on the outside, as is Mike Mayetta Jr. along with Glenn Cusack and Kerry Winslow. All take a move to the outside groove. Gary Pulsifer on the move as he draws it even now to the outside of Gary Johnson. Pulsifer in an all-new chassis. Gary Pulsifer working hard to the outside of Gary Johnson. Trying to squeeze by at turn 3, gets the car by. Now can he bring it to the inside? Working into lap number 8, your new leader, Gary Pulsifer in the number 41. Bobby Babb now moves to the outside of Gary Johnson. Bobby Babb trying to make that outside groove work early. See if he can get up and challenge to the outside of Gary Johnson. Mike Johnson on the move in the number 33. Former track champion here at the Speedway, always a strong contender, as is Mike Mayetta and Bob Randall, who've moved into the outside groove. Bobby Babb continues to challenge to the outside of the 53 of Gary Johnson. Gary Pulsifer turning the track in about 15.7 seconds. Good, respectable time. Faster times have been clocked by several of the competitors here today. Whether they can do it in this feature event remains to be seen. Glenn Cusack gets tapped and has to put the brakes on, taking him way back. Have to regain his momentum again. '53 of Gary Johnson bowing out, putting the car on the infield pit road. Gary Pulsifer managing to stretch out a bit of a lead now over Bobby Babb, Pete Rondo, and Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson continuing his effort to the outside of Pete Rondo. Now looks to the outside of Bobby Babb. Mike Johnson on the move as he takes the second place position, working outside of the number 4 of Bobby Babb. Now Mike Johnson sets his sights on race leader Pulsifer in the number 41. Pete Rondo now trying to work to the outside of the number 4 of Bob Babb. Rondo manages to work his way around the number 4, takes over the third place position. Joe Bowser works his way out and around the 0 of Barry Babb, takes over the 5th place position. Mike Mayetta on the move as he also works to the outside of Barry Babb, up into the 6th place position. Bob Randall also on the move, as is Paul Johnson. Little by little, Mike Johnson reining in the 41 of Gary Pulsifer. Mike Johnson has closed it up to about a car length, or perhaps a car length and a half behind the race leader. Now he draws it right up close to the bumper in turn 4. Race leaders coming up now to lap some of the cars that started at the back of the pack. Gary Pulsifer will have to work his way out and around Tom Bragg, a rookie. Then he'll be faced with Kerry Anderson, also a rookie, up both drivers up from the limited sportsman division. Joe Bowser has worked his way up to position 4. Passing flag going out as the race leaders work their way around several rookies. Greg Strout in the number 7. Former Enduro champion. Quite a change for him, strapping into a late model sportsman after having competed in Enduro racing. Got to find the speed quite an adjustment. Gary Pulsifer continues to show the way. 29 laps down. Gary Pulsifer starting the season just the way he hoped he would. All new car, new number to Gary Pulsifer. And so far it seems to be the right combination. 20 laps to go in this 50-lap feature event. Pete Rondo now up to challenge Mike Johnson as he pulls right up on the bumper of the number 33 of Johnson. Rondo seems to get into the 3-turn very strong. He's able to pull it right up. Falls back a little bit on the front stretch. But down the back stretch into 3. Rondo is all over the back end of the number 33. Just seems to need racing room. Now he looks to the outside of Mike Johnson. Your eyes on Pete Rondo, newcomer to the late model ranks here at the Speedway. Competitor here for several years, then took a year off last year. Rondo working his way out and around. The 33 and the 32 come together. Caution flag is out. Bobby Libby heads on a pit road. Evidently oil or fluid on the track indicate that they think it's coming from the 48. All clear from atop the flag stand as the drivers make one last glance over. Pace car makes its way onto the infield pit road. Gary Pulsifer and Mike Johnson bring the field down for a start at turn 4. Green is up. Advantage Mike Johnson from the outside. Working in lap number 35. Your new leader is Mike Johnson. The 16 up against the backstretch wall. That will require a caution flag once again. Tim Bland. Green once again as they negotiate the front stretch. Mike Johnson does it again from the outside as the cars had gone nowhere since the last restart. Mike Johnson does it once again from the outside. Battle is for third. Pete Rondo has Joe Bowser to his outside. Spin in the 1 turn. The 51 of Kerry Anderson, and it looked like the 34 of Bobby Libby up off the top of turn 1 will bring out the caution once again. Well, they managed to get one more lap down. 15 to go. Mike Johnson and Gary Pulsifer will bring the field down. Pace car makes its way onto the infield pit road. Looking for a start out of turn 4. Green is out. Mike Johnson once again jumps into a quick lead. Now Joe Bowser fills the inside groove to challenge Pulsifer. Gary Pulsifer now no place to go but stay in the outside groove. Will make a challenge once again to the outside of Bowser. Mike Mayetta up to position number 4. Randall trying to take over the 5th place position. Johnson, Joe Bowser, Gary Pulsifer, Mike Mayetta, and Bob Randall. Randall now looks to the inside of Mayetta. Bob Randall takes position number 4 as he works beneath the number 13. Now he'll look to the outside of Gary Pulsifer. Bob Randall on the move. Keep your eyes on the number 91. Randall knows that time's running out, 10 laps to go. Still has some ground to cover. Mayetta now works to the outside of Pulsifer. Mike Johnson turning the track in about 15.7 seconds. Joe Bowser about 2 car lengths off the rear bumper of the 33. Then comes Bob Randall in 3rd place position. Mike Mayetta 4th. Gary Pulsifer is 5th. Joe Bowser continues to work at the rear bumper of the 33 of Mike Johnson. Now he takes a look to the outside. Bob Randall closing it up little by little. Bowser sets to the outside once again. Trying to mount a challenge on the backstretch. It looks like he will, as he moves to the outside of Mike Johnson now. Johnson continues to hold about a half to 3/4 car length lead over Bowser. Joe Bowser continually tries to the outside of the number 33. Blackman indicates it will be just 2 to go this time by. Bowser continues to try to the outside of Mike Johnson. Randall closes it up. White flag is out, 1 to go. Here comes Joe Bowser to the outside once again. Cars come together just slightly. Cross the line. The 33 of Mike Johnson. It looked like Joe Bowser in second by about a bumper. The 91 of Bob Randall, then the 13 of Mike Mayetta, and the 41 of Gary Pulsifer. Very tight race. Another 5 or 6 laps to go. It would have been interesting to see if Bob Randall could have overtaken the lead, but today belonged to Mike Johnson. He collects the colors from flagman Eddie Walsh. Will make his parade lap, and then we'll get a chance to hear from opening day late model sportsman feature event winner Mike Johnson. Fine run by Joe Bowser as he collected the runner-up spot in the Futura Stone Maine State Academy of Hair number 32, and of course Bob Randall in the Kate's Car Connection number 91. Mike Johnson back into victory lane, return.
Mike, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Things looked like they were getting kind of tough toward the end.
Yeah, my car slowed up a little bit, and looks like Joe come on real good at the end. He was faster than I was at the end, but it was our day today.
Does the heart go up in the throat a little bit when you're coming out of turn 4 and he's right there and you're slowing down some and you get that tap from behind, and do you wonder if you're going to be able to hold on to it?
Yeah, you always wonder whether you get the tap or not, you know, but, you know, if he's faster and go out around it, you know, the more power to him.
It's a new look for the Polar team and the Pleasant Hill Gardens team this year.
Yes, it is. It's a new Camaro. We decided we wanted something a little bit different, so we went with this, and so far it's worked out real well.
Is it the same chassis, same car as last year?
No, it's a brand new Stevie Levitt car, Action Racing.
Well, for a car brand new out of the box, it sure runs well. Any comparison to last year's car? On the average, better?
It's hard to compare. The other car was so old. It really was old, and you know, it wasn't one of the fastest cars out, and we had to work real hard with it to keep even in contention. So this one's a lot easier to maneuver and handle, and you know, to do what you got to do with it.
Well, judging by what we've seen of you in the practice runs already in the past week and what we saw today, you're going to be one of the ones to beat this year. We wish you well.
Well, thank you very much.
Here's the first place trophy from Diane Thompson. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, a nice round of applause for Mike Johnson. Bruce Elder, back to you. One race to go.
One race it is, and it's the Wild and Woolly Wildcat. So a little bit different than what you've seen up to this point. This is our entry-level division, designed to be low buck, kind of right off the road, just with the necessary bracing for safety. 55 jumps into a quick lead. That's Mark Bernier out of Westbrook, Maine. Grabs the point over the 53. That is Bonnie Johnson. 38 on the move. The 38 is Lyman McCaig, along with the number 12, driven by Lawrence Emery. Rounding out the top 5 is the number 46, and the 46 is driven by Reno Neto. Challenge at the front now, the 38 mounting a challenge to the back of the Bernier car. Tangle between turns 3 and 4. We have a hood up on one of the cars, and we have the 73 and the 60 got hooked together, and 60 not being able to see very well made short work of that, and he will undoubtedly head back onto pit road and at least get the hood put down. .38 grabs the lead. That's Lyman McCaig from West Buxton. He's followed by the 55 Mark Bernier from Westbrook. Now the spin in the 4-turn area. Back around, but in doing so, the left rear has been flattened. Is the number 38 who's on the backstretch. That is Lyman McCaig. 55 Bernier. We have the 12 up against the wall here. That will bring out the caution flag. 12 is Lawrence Emery. He's all right trying to back away from the safety barrier there. little crunch on the right front, but he's still able to keep moving. Once all the cars have cleared the track, the main gate will be opened up, and those of you who would like to stay around for a bit will have an opportunity to do so. But right now, the green is back out again over there in the 3-turn. And not many of the drivers saw it, but the green car coming up through, that is the 63. Right, Johnny on the spot, as the saying goes, Steve Clark covered some ground as the green came out of the restart and caught some of the drivers unaware. But at the point, it continues to be Lyman McKay in the number 38, followed by Mark Bernier in the 55. Then comes the 63 of Steve Clark. Problems on the number 17 as he takes it over the bank. That's Willie Bunnell. Cars tangle in the 1-turn. We have a wheel off a car and it's collected by another. Caution flag for the 29, I believe that is. That's Todd Fitz. Back under green, and we have 4 wide racing in turn 1. Lyman McKay back out front, followed by Mark Bernier. Now the number 7 trying to shake loose of the pack. That's Joe Hennessy in the number 7. 63 on the move once again. 63 driven by Steve Clough. Side-by-side battle between the 7 and the 63. Spin in turn 2. Looks like the 06, he gets it back underway. We stay green. That's Dwayne Connors in the 06. Does a nice job of getting the car back underway. Continue with 3 wide racing down the backstretch. The number 17 trying to work his way to the front. Spin right here in the front stretch. The number 7 gets turned about. He does a nice job of bringing the car back. Gets it sideways a couple more times, but straightens it out again. Spin between turns 3 and 4. Whoa, the number 3 just gets clear of the rest of the pack. That's Glenn Bradbury. Unofficially, lead still belongs to Lyman McKay in the 38, followed by Mark Bernier. Blackman into indicates 2 laps to go. Your race leader is the number 38, McKay, down into turn 1, followed by the 55, Mark Bernier from Westbrook. Wheel off from the 03. He's able to take the car right to the pit area. The wheel stays way over by the wall, so everything is okay. We stay under green. White flag is out. Cars working in their last lap. Race leader is on the backstretch, heading down into turn 3. It is the 38, driven by McKay, followed by Bernier. McKay grabs the first Wildcat race of the year, followed by Mark Bernier. Lyman McKay brings the 38 down to the start-finish line area, capturing the first Wildcat feature event of the 92 season. And that brings to a close the opening day 92. Once again, we're pleased that you decided to spend opening day with us here at the Beech Ridge Motor Speedway. And we hope that you'll make it a habit each and every week to be with us here at one of America's premier short tracks for auto racing at its very best. As always, if you're headed home, we'll ask you to please drive carefully as you make your way out of the Speedway. If you'd like to stay around for a bit, in just a few minutes the main gate will be opened up and you're welcome to stay around for a bit. Been a pleasure having you with us this opening day, and hope that you'll be back with us next Sunday afternoon. For Beech Ridge Motor Speedway staff and owners, the Cusack family, good afternoon.